Hey, this is an audio only show. Play us in the background as you do whatever it is that you do. Thanks for listening and welcome to the Messy Mic. Please remember to like and subscribe. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so this is for the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 17, episode 14, which is the Highland Games and Explosive Claims episode. And really, what this episode is looking like is the Shamea versus Porsha show. And so, what I'm not going to get into on this episode is the whole history of the Shamea versus Porsha, but I am going to get into my opinions about this episode and my opinions about the relationship. But I'm not going to get into like their whole history and run down that first. We're just going to jump in. So, with this episode, what was really cute and what I'm liking about this season is this season is really understanding the rhythm of like friendship and then frenemy and then enemy. Whereas like Real Housewives of Potomac and Atlanta in the past, they have just kept the frenemy enemy vibes until the last episode, literally, and when they have to make up. And they keep splitting the groups up and they just keep that hate energy for each other each and every episode. And honestly, the crowd likes to see fun stuff too. We like to see when they get along. We like to see luxury. We want to see bags. We want to see the things that we do not live in our everyday life. This show is about escapism, but also, we want to see a little drama. And so we get it. But over the years, it just seems like the housewives are doing Survivor. They're doing Survivor, and they may feel like Survivor for them because some of them are coming off broke, Kelly. They're coming off broke, so they're doing whatever it is that they have to do to keep a check. So that might mean siding with someone that you don't want to side with, or just not having using common sense. Like, oh, this person's being very honest or genuine, maybe at this moment, or it doesn't make sense that you know some of the things that are happening with one housewife continues to happen. It must be somebody, but they cannot side on the air of common sense when they're in these alliances. Shamia showed that she will do an alliance version of this show last season when she finally got on to be a housewife. When she finally got on, she was trying to get Angela, a lot of the newbies, people that she did not necessarily know from her history of being on the show, to be her friend. What she didn't know is the newbies were gonna go run tell that, which that's what they do on this show, run tell that to Portia. And I'm not necessarily all team Portia. I do see I am neutral in the sense that it's a yin and yang with them. You can't pick one. I don't think you can pick one over the other constantly in this beef between them, because at some point their relationship has proven to just be a toxic friendship. They remind me a lot of, if you watch Girlfriends, Joan and Tony. One minute they're cool and it's fun and they're there for each other, and one minute it's toxic and backstabbing. And right now it's in the ultimate toxic backstabbing mode, as they're not even friends anymore. So with Shamia and this part of the episode, the season again has been fun. They had a little drama. Portia's been doing an excellent job of staying clear of Shamia's bullshit and other Shamia bullshit that people have brought to her. She don't make no faces. She's shown to leave the Portia shown to leave the room. She keeps a stone cold face. Personally, if I was on the show and I was Shamia with all that I got going on, I would just take this as a win, and I would befriend people with honey and be sweet and nice and come in to who I could be, and to who I could be nice to. And she was to K Michelle coming in. She had some new batch of people. She had Kelly from last year. She you have Pinky, who Pinky is doing a good job. Some people don't like Pinky. I don't understand why y'all don't like Pinky. Maybe because she was crying about her bankruptcy, and I can get on that a whole tangent on that later. But with Pinky, she's doing a really good job for a first year housewife. She's kind of laying below the radar, but she does have a storyline. We can't act like she don't have a storyline. She may say bankruptcy, but she got kids, she got her husband, she's showing that relationship. She put a little drama spice in their storyline too, right? Did she come back? She's the friend. She got some people together. She wasn't afraid to get into a fight with Angela. She is going she's not doing the balls to the walls and says like some people just come in and attack everybody. She's doing a really good job of like playing the field and almost playing like she's a year 2 or year 3 housewife. Something she do is very year 1. So hate all you want, but she is somebody who helps the storyline move along. Like when they're stalling, she'll bring up something really well without throwing somebody under the bus, but it's throwing somebody under the bus. But she's doing a really good job of I think of a housewife. She may not be a fan favorite. She's not my favorite, but on an overall rating scale, just looking at all the things that she's been doing, she's been hitting all strides. And so let's just give her that. But in terms of Shamia, she hasn't been bringing the fun when everybody's been bringing the fun. She's been bringing tears and crying and victimhood this whole season when she had that last season. And what she did not is change the story in her arc, in her housewife arc. We see you got the money, girl. You look fabulous. Bomb skin, bomb hair, clothes, but when they quality and they name brand. She got better clothes than me. You know what I mean? But in this, she's really holding on to Kelly. It looked like she tried to make this allegiance with K Michelle, who's very sensitive. So you can't be like, I'm only your friend because, and I did all this, for you. My other friends don't like me being your friend, but I'm still your friend. That ain't K Michelle's spiel. K Michelle wants to be, honored as a genuine friendship. And she really wants to know, does someone have her back? She has a bunch of insecurities. She can't tell when someone's for her or against her. You kind of have to be direct with K Michelle. So you can't say those little things to her. It'll set her off on a tangent. You can't be like, "Well, I'm your friend," even though people didn't want me to be your friend. She really don't give a fuck about that. So you say that to her, that is an insult to her. In retrospect, it really is an insult. So keep that in mind. With Shamia not understanding how to change her character arc in this season, not understanding Portia's not going to give her any play, she is living in her hurt. Whereas Portia kind of moved on from that hurt. Or Portia didn't necessarily move on. She may just be doing a very good job at perception of moving on. And that's really all you can ask for because on that show, people are looking to have tea. Portia has a pots and pots of tea, and so does Shamia on Portia. And Portia decided to take the high road and say, I'm just not even going to involve myself in this, even when y'all pull me under. I've done this a long time. She has not pulled Shamia under. Honestly, about Shamia, that's all I could ask for. Because you got mad at your friend that you said she didn't want you to be on the show. Well, you on the show. I do think Portia went to Andy and asked to be on the show, even if Portia supposedly was very vulnerable with Shamia and saying, you have all these things and this is all I have. Portia put that aside, apparently, and still went to Andy. So she might have had a point of clarity, which, or just be like, you know what? F it. It's my friend. I'm going to do it. Sometimes we do feel that way as friends. It happens at times, at different points in time in people's lives. Some people that happens as a teenager, some people you might feel that way in your 20s. What I will commend, if it's true, that Portia said it to her and was very vulnerable. But the key is what you do as a person. And what has been proven with Andy co-signing and said that Portia did ask Shamia to be on the show. So regardless of what she might have been vulnerable with, she followed through and she asked Andy. Shamia's on the show. Shamia had her little Survivor Making Alliance things last year and it came out. That would hurt me if I was a friend. I put you on the show, I let you know I was vulnerable, and then you went and tried to do Survivor on me. All right, bet. That does not mean Portia's clean in this relationship. I think they in the past of them being messy, I think they have jealousy issues. I think they done a lot of dirt together. I just think they have toxic pieces. Portia didn't go to her wedding in Africa, but she did go to her events in the US. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe she was more, busy. But as a friend, I would have went. She got money, she could have went. Um and I don't think she was pregnant. I don't think Portia was pregnant at the time. So, but where they are now, it just seems as though, Shamia has the money. She looks, like I said, she looks amazing. She got her little side gigs, she got her little side gigs, I think she overplays this NBA job that she has. It just feels very well overplayed. She seems like an ambassador, like people who hands out new drinks for Coca-Cola and they try to get you to drink it to buy it, or when you go to BJ's, they give you a taste tester. She seems more like an ambassador for the Atlanta Hawks, but she really makes it seem like she has this job. Maybe she does. maybe it's more, maybe she's in the back office, not sure, but it is something that she does. Portia has had numerous things too with her hair. She got equity, her hair weaves, and she got equity in her house that she just supposedly pulled $1 million for. She got stuff going on too. So with Shamea, though, she has so much more to lose with the husband. And she's not understanding that she has a very Kenyan husband, okay? A very Kenyan husband. And she's not I don't think she understands culturally what she got herself into. It is very different than West African culture. He is East African culture. And to me, depending, because on West African cultures, there's different indigenous tribes, sectors, and bloodlines and gender and ethnicities, just like on East Africa. But based on my experience being in East Africa, it is to me a little bit more conservative. And I'm not talking about like US version of conservative. But when I say conservative, I mean like people I'm not gonna lie, I dressed very American. I had a cute little dress on and I had a little bit of cleavage out. And I was like, oh, and I did not have my boobs out like Shamia has in her confessional. It was just a little bit because of how the dress was designed. And I went out and I realized a lot of people were in Muslim garb. A lot of women were covered head to toe. And we went to a bowling alley. I realized we all wanted to drink. It was a bunch of us. We all wanted to drink, trying to drink. They have liquor, but other people aren't really drinking liquor. So, you just kind of have to, and other people, I mean, other people who are, citizens, people living there. So you just have to, I had to adjust. And that was like one of my first nights out. So I was like, oh, okay. Whereas in West Africa, you could do that, it wouldn't have been nothing. So I realized, oh, this is a little bit more conservative culture. Let me change this up a little bit. Because we were going out for a night on the town. So, and we went to the club after. So, we had fun, but I'm just saying, that is the bit of the culture. It's not that they don't party and have a good time. It's just a tad like, it's very dialed back from Atlanta. So that just also kinda tells you the expectations that your man is gonna have. So when Gerald is saying he doesn't want you to have sex scenes and doing these things on TV, it's not that he doesn't want you to be free and not have your businesses. He clearly wants you to have a business, but culturally for him, that's not what he necessarily wants, and that's probably not what he signed up for, per se. Not only that, anybody can watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. You can play that all the way out in another country with a VPN. So, and if not, somebody watching it and running and tell that back in Kenya, and that's just not a good representation of his family for his family back home. And plus, you don't want other men. They're not gonna want other men to see you that they don't wanna see your butt. She had her whole butt out at the trip in Dallas. Now all his people gonna see his butt, her butt. He don't want that. I'm telling you, that's not how it kinda roll out there. So, and that's not to say again, you can't be free or fluid or have your fun time. It's just when I say dial back, it's just not on Atlanta is like to me on a spectrum at the top of fun free blackness. And it ain't that. It's not restrictive, but again, it's just not at the top of the spectrum. And so his requests to me aren't necessarily outlandish. And I'm not here to restrict someone's freedom either. Like I think Shamia should be able to be free, but I do think they both need to be mindful of what they're asking for each other and really think about who they both married. So with that being said, Shamia does have a lot more to lose because I don't think she can pay for a mortgage like that. She can't go get herself another house. You get what I'm saying? Like that. She may get that house in a divorce. She may get some alimony, but that house is taking upkeep from a person who owns a home and don't have nearly near big a roof as her. It costs. So it costs to keep the house up. So she's gonna have a lot of costs associated with trying to keep up that lifestyle. And I just think she needs to think thoroughly about what she's putting out there and the kind of fights she's having on TV. And she has enough money to create almost any storyline she wants. We can watch her go shopping. We could watch her go to the spa. She could do so much more with where she's at, especially with her kids. She could show us like, oh, we took the kids on this type of vacation, or they're going to this nice luxury type of daycare or play area, or they're doing Russian math at this special club, or we go to a country club. I don't know, country club. I don't know, but she could do something a little bit more to show us like an elevated lifestyle and just to show off with her cash. She could just also show up for Gerald. Gerald got me this, or he thought about me like this. If she just really wanted to kind of show some petty, but she's choosing violence. She's choosing violence in this episode, and she's going straight for the jugular for Porsha. She's been trying to kick up something. Porsha has been, like, blind to the madness, like, "I ain't seeing it, I'm not doing it, I'm not listening to it." If anything, she's tried and Dallas, Porsha tried to diffuse situations, with folks and some of the tensions with Shamea. I don't think to be friendly, but I think to make sure she is steering clear of the bullshit. So, with that being said, when Shamea is getting upset and bringing somebody's daughter into it, talking about Portia's daughter and saying how sad it is that the daughter doesn't come to the house anymore, when Shamea didn't even invite Portia to the house for Gerald's party, but Portia invited her to her event, that she had earlier in the season, and then saying, well, basically, in so many words, is really for it was because Dennis and Gerald are cool, and so she's bringing, she's offering this extension to Portia's daughter through that, and then saying she's sad that the Portia's daughter didn't show up, girl, and then jump to I wouldn't hurt her. Nobody said that. Not Portia didn't even allude to that. Why would you say that? And that just lets me know how Shamea creates her stories. She goes to something that wasn't said, she makes an assumption, or she throws out things out there. She makes perceptions. And she works on playing on perception. No one said that you were gonna hurt that baby. Portia didn't say that. But she was very honest and basically, I'm not going to send my child to a house that doesn't mess with me like that. To someone's house who doesn't like me. And honestly, who would do that? And it's not even about hurting the child, it's just about the energy. Like, I'm not sending my child somewhere where someone has bad energy for me or is not messing with me. What common sense does that make to send my child over there? Because I don't know how you're going to start disciplining her. You could be a little bit harsher on her. I don't know where your resentment's going to lie. I don't know where the triggers are for you. We're not in a good place, so I don't know what's going to trigger you. I don't know if you're gonna automatically call, say I need to pick the baby up. I don't know if she's gonna blame the baby for breaking something. You don't know where her energy is gonna be at. So it's just easier to cut it clean and for everyone to say, nah, my baby's not gonna go over there. And and I think she was just hurt, like she's really seeing the change in their friendship. Like, dang, I can't even they're my daughter and my daughters and your daughter is not even gonna be cool now. Like we grew up together. Cool. And now I can't even extend that to my child or my children. So I I don't know if that triggered her, but she just went from that to the moms. You don't go to somebody's mom and tell them they mama business or who they sleeping with all of a sudden. And Portia did not do anything to you all season. Even when she said, no, I'm not gonna let my child go to somewhere that's like, where I'm not wanted, Shamia didn't jump to the mama. And was like, "Well, that's because you said something online." Why was that mentioned early in the season? Why was that mentioned early in the season? Now you bring it up at the table. It just came up so random. There was no lead up to it. Like, well, you said something about my mama. Girl, y'all didn't ate, went on to Dallas trips, all kind of stuff. On top of me just being such a wet blanket, like this room is dirty and Dallas and holding that so tightly against Cynthia. And it's just like Cynthia apologized. She tried to fix it. Also, Cynthia is just not the housewife, even though she's a friend of the show, to do that with. She's just not the one for that. She's been nothing but kind. And if you needed an ally, she's a great neutral bridge to like kind of keep it unbiased with people. And you went and burnt it. You made her get drunk in the van and then lay you out in what 50 Cent in 50 Cent manner. Like, girl, you turning Cynthia on you? Yeah, it might be you at that point. And so even at that point, it was her. And then she was trying to drag poor Kelly down with her. Pinky went for it and then didn't. She went in and out and sold it. And Kima Show wasn't, she had her own thing going on, like she always does. So with this episode, my conclusion on this is that Shamea has lost the plot of the show. It's really about revenge. Portia's not perfect, but this has been her platform for a long time. And she played it the way she decided to, which is to give you room to do you. And Shamea did not take heed to that. She did not flip that for herself. She decided to use this as Survivor, and she decided to play a game. And she's not doing well at this point. Even with Portia coming out the woodwork on her tweet or her messaging, wherever she messaged it, spilling more tea about Shamea and sleeping with a manager, whether this happened allegedly sleeping with a manager. I don't know if that's true, but whether that's, before she was with Gerald allegedly or after allegedly with Gerald, who knows? But what we do know is that the friendship is just messy right now. And so with Shamea, she really just needs to recalibrate. I'm really interested to see what happens in the next episode and to see what happens at the reunion. At this point, you can be team Portia because some people just don't like Portia. It don't matter who is going against Portia, they won't like her. And it could be, some people don't like Shamea. I am at this point just seeing two friends, and I'm not trying to be neutral for no reason. I just looking at it, sometimes subjectively, but I'm just trying to look at it like on a housewife level. Shamea pressed the wrong button at the wrong time. She did not use her leverage correctly if she is going to go into playing Survivor. And she had a whole season where she could have really shined. And where Portia wasn't stepping on her toes, where she really could have led as the housewife and she missed an opportunity. That is a letdown and that's irritating. And then to see her then come out this season to go after Portia when Portia's been laying low, it's just like watching somebody spoiled their hard-earned riches, and she's spoiling it in so many ways, and I really cannot stand naivety and stupidity when someone is in a victim mindset, and she's not admitting that she's in a victim mindset. She also doesn't understand that Portia is in a different place in life. Maybe Portia was jealous of you at one time because you had a husband and with money and stuff. She attempted to do that. What it seems like is Portia is actually realizing she's fine on her own at this point. She's evolving in her life to like, oh, I can survive on my own. And she's out in these streets having a good time. And I think Shamea sees that. One, that means Shamea no longer has leverage over Portia with her husband, with using her husband, like, because you don't have anything Portia wants right now. She don't want a husband anymore. She want to have fun and enjoy her life. She realized she about to get $1 million off this house. She's got other type of ventures that she's doing. She's realized she can be stable on her own and that she don't got to answer to nobody. And she's having a good time doing that. Where Shami is realizing she's got a husband she's obligated to. It's not as freeing as it seems or feels. She's got kids that she does love, but you are now, obligated to two of them and a third, trying to have a third, which means that you really need to turn into a family person. And it doesn't seem like Shamea wants to be full-fledged family. She wants to have one foot in, one foot out, kind of be in these streets, having a good time with her butt out in Dallas. But she also wants to keep Gerald. And really, it's like, do you love him, girl, or is he your bag? Because she keeps complaining about not having this third kid or the complication with this third kid and what happens after that. So Portia's kind of been through these cycles, lived it. It's like, oh, I can stand on my own two and it's free. And it's just like you watching your friend through the gate like a little DW meme. And now, and that friend ain't your friend no more. And that friend is everybody's like friend. And it's eating her. Therapy is always an option. Also, just counting your blessings and have gratitude. You got roof over your head, a nice roof, food. You can go to spa any day week. You can go to Miami. You can go to Ibiza. You can do whatever you want outside these folks, outside this TV show. Just keep doing that on the show. Use you for the storyline. Of course, she's not. She may get. We can give her the storyline she's looking for, but at the end of the day, use you for the storyline. All right, that's it with the messy mic. All right. Thank you all for listening. You may not agree with me and disagree as you will in the comments, because what else we gonna do? I'm ready for it. But if you do agree, let me know and let me know what you're looking forward to in the next episode. Appreciate y'all so much.